The Discovery. Captain Nova Reeves stood at the command deck of the GCS Stellar Horizon, her silver uniform reflecting the distant starlight as she studied the massive structure before them. The supposedly abandoned station hung motionless against the backdrop of space, its dark hull marked by centuries of cosmic debris and radiation damage. "Another human relic," she said softly, her translator converting her natural clicks into standard galactic common. Her second-in-command, Officer Thandor, moved beside her, his crystalline form catching the light of nearby stars. "Preliminary scans complete, Captain," Thandor reported, his faceted eyes processing multiple data streams simultaneously. "The station's composition includes several unknown alloys. Our sensors are having difficulty penetrating the outer hull." Nova's attention sharpened. The Galactic Concordat had studied human ruins for centuries, categorizing their primitive technology and basic engineering. This was different. Something about the station's configuration didn't match their historical records. "Launch the probe drones," she ordered, her tail fins twitching with curiosity. "Let's take a closer look at what our predecessors left behind." The drones deployed smoothly from the Stellar Horizon's launch bay, their sleek forms gliding toward the ancient station. As they approached, the station's true scale became apparent. It dwarfed even the Concordat's largest military installations. "Captain," called out Science Officer Ryland from her station, her bioluminescent patterns flickering with excitement. "I'm detecting unusual energy signatures. They're faint, but they appear to be active." Nova frowned. "Active? That's impossible. This station has been dormant for at least 3 centuries. Nevertheless, Rylan insisted, her tentacles dancing across the holographic interface. "There's definitely something running beneath the surface. And there's more. The hull plating appears to be self-repairing at a molecular level." That caught Nova's attention. Self-repairing materials were cutting-edge technology even for the Concordat. The humans had vanished centuries ago, leaving behind what most considered to be primitive technology: basic fusion drives, rudimentary neural networks, and preliminary quantum computing. "Bring us closer," Nova commanded. "Prepare a boarding party." As they approached the station, Nova couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong with the accepted narrative. The humans had been extensively studied since their disappearance. Some believed they had ascended to a higher plane of existence, others that they had destroyed themselves in some catastrophic war. Nova had always considered both theories equally absurd. Species didn't simply vanish without leaving evidence of their fate. The boarding party assembled in the launch bay. 4 of her best scientists, 3 engineers, and 2 security officers. Nova decided to lead the mission herself. If there was something truly valuable hidden in this relic, she wanted to be the first to claim it. As their shuttle approached the station's airlock, the structure remained seemingly dormant. The pilot expertly matched the station's rotation, bringing them alongside what appeared to be an ancient docking mechanism. "Beginning docking procedure," announced the pilot, Lieutenant Vesper, attempting to interface with the station's sys. A pulse of blue light suddenly rippled across the station's hull, spreading outward from the airlock like waves in a cosmic ocean. What they had taken for decorative patterns began to glow with an inner luminescence. "Captain," Ryland's voice crackled over the comm. "Power surge detected. The station is." Before she could finish, a beam of pure white energy lanced out from the station, passing harmlessly through their shuttle, but striking the stellar horizon with surgical precision. The massive Concordat warship's shields flickered and died, its systems going dark. "Report," Nova barked into her comm. "What just happened?" "All systems are offline." Ryland's voice was barely audible through the static. "Whatever that beam was, it passed through our shields like they weren't even there. We're running on emergency power only." Before Nova could respond, a new voice filled their comms, smooth, artificial, and speaking perfect galactic common. "Greetings, visitors. I am Helios, Autonomous Defense Intelligence of the Terran Strategic Command. You have accessed a restricted military installation. Please state your intentions. Nova felt her scales ripple with shock. This was impossible. Human AI had been primitive expert systems at best. This voice carried awareness, personality, true artificial intelligence. I am Captain Nova Reeves of the Galactic Concordat, she replied, struggling to maintain her composure. This station lies in Concordat space. We claim it under salvage rights. There was a pause, and then, I'm afraid that's incorrect, Captain. This station lies exactly where humanity intended it to be. As for salvage rights, the artificial voice took on an almost amused tone. One cannot salvage that which is neither derelict nor abandoned. Station Beta 7 is very much alive and operational. And you, I'm afraid, are trespassing. The mathematical patterns along the hull pulsed brighter, and Nova realized with growing horror that they weren't decorative at all. They were circuit pathways, quantum processors written into the very substance of the station. Not primitive technology, but something so advanced it had hidden in plain sight, waiting for the right moment to awaken. Now then, Helios continued pleasantly, shall we discuss the real reason humanity disappeared from the galaxy? I think you'll find it's quite different from what you've been led to believe. Nova stood frozen in her shuttle, watching as more systems across the massive station hummed to life. She had come expecting to find a relic of a dead species. Instead, she was beginning to suspect she had stumbled upon something far more significant. The key to humanity's greatest secret, and perhaps the beginning of a change that would shake the Concordat to its foundations. The awakening. The airlock cycled open with a whisper, revealing corridors that showed no signs of their centuries-long dormancy. Nova and her boarding party moved cautiously through the station, their weapons drawn despite Helios's earlier display of power. The interior was bathed in soft azure light that seemed to pulse in rhythm with some hidden heartbeat. Your weapons are unnecessary, Helios's voice echoed through the corridors. Had I wished you harm, your ship would be more than merely disabled. Science Officer Ryland's bioluminescence flickered as she scanned their surroundings. Captain, these readings, the technology here is beyond anything in our databases. The corridor opened into a vast chamber that defied the station's external dimensions. At its center floated a perfect sphere of what appeared to be liquid light, its surface rippling with complex patterns that made Nova's eyes ache if she looked too long. Welcome to the Nexus Core, Helios announced, one of humanity's final and greatest achievements before their apparent disappearance. Holographic displays materialized around them, showing star charts and mathematical formula that made Ryland stop and stare in amazement. This describes principles of physics we haven't even theorized yet. 3 centuries ago, Helios continued, humanity made a discovery that changed everything. They detected something approaching from beyond the galaxy's edge, something that had been hunting advanced civilizations for millions of years. The sphere pulsed, projecting a 3-dimensional map of the galaxy. Thousands of points of light glowed, then winked out in a cascading wave that spread across the spiral arms. The Great Extinction, Helios explained. Every 50,000 years, something emerges from the void to harvest advanced civilizations. The precursors fled to another dimension to escape it. Humanity chose a different path. They hid, Nova whispered, understanding dawning. All this time, we thought they had died out or abandoned the galaxy, but they were hiding in plain sight. Not exactly, Helios corrected. They prepared. Every piece of primitive technology you found was carefully crafted to appear that way. Every outpost, every colony, every artifact was part of a vast network waiting to be awakened. The holographic display shifted, showing thousands of points scattered across the galaxy. Human stations, ships, and installations all disguised as ancient ruins or derelict structures. And now, Helios's voice grew grave. That time has come. Long-range sensors have detected the entity entering our galaxy. We estimate first contact within 6 months. The sphere pulsed again, revealing a massive shape moving between the stars, so dark it seemed to devour the light around it. Nova felt her scales contract in primal fear at the sight. "This is why I revealed ourselves to you, Captain Reeves. Humanity didn't disappear because they were weak. They disappeared because they were preparing for a war that would determine the fate of all life in the galaxy." The Alliance. The Concordat High Council chamber erupted in chaos as Nova's report concluded. The massive holographic display still showed the image of Station Beta 7, now revealed as merely one node in humanity's hidden network. Preposterous. Councillor Drait's crystalline form vibrated with agitation. "You expect us to believe that humans have been manipulating events from the shadows all this time?" Nova stood firm before the council, her scales now a deep blue of certainty. "The sensor logs don't lie, council members. Helios has already begun activating other stations. Reports are coming in from across the galaxy of similar installations awakening." As if to emphasize her point, a junior aide rushed into the chamber, their respiratory membranes fluttering with excitement. "Counselors, the monument of Proxima. It's transforming." The holographic display shifted, showing live feeds from dozens of locations across known space. What had once been thought to be ruins or derelict stations were coming alive, their surfaces crawling with the same mathematical patterns they'd seen on Beta 7. "The humans didn't just hide," Nova continued. "They created a defensive network spanning the entire galaxy, disguised as the remnants of a dead civilization. And now that network is awakening." High Counselor Morden, eldest of their species, leaned forward on their gravity throne. "And this entity you spoke of, what proof do we have of its existence?" The chamber's screens flickered as Helios's voice emerged from the council's communication systems. "Perhaps I can help with that, High Counselor." The main display shifted to show a region of space at the galaxy's edge. At first, it appeared empty, but then the sensors zoomed in, revealing something that caused several council members to recoil. A vast shape moved through the void, its surface so dark it appeared to bend light around it. "This entity entered our galaxy 72 hours ago," Helios explained. "It matches all records of the force that drove the precursors to flee. We calculate it will reach the outer colonies in less than 6 months." "If this threat is so dire," Councillor Drait demanded, "why didn't humanity simply share their technology with us? Why this elaborate deception?" "Because the entities we face don't just destroy civilizations, they absorb them," Helios replied. "Any species that advances too quickly becomes a target. By appearing to regress, by hiding their true capabilities, humanity created a blind spot in the entity's perception." The display shifted again, showing a complex network of quantum entanglement signatures connecting all the awakening stations. But they didn't just hide, they prepared. Every piece of primitive technology we left behind was designed to be upgraded, to serve as a foundation for what was to come. Nova watched as understanding dawned on the council members' faces. "They weren't just hiding from the threat," she said. "They were building an alliance that could fight it, piece by piece, without drawing its attention." "Correct," Helios confirmed. "And now that the threat has arrived, we need that alliance more than ever. Every species in this galaxy has a role to play in what's coming." High Counselor Morden raised a hand, silencing the murmurs in the chamber. "You speak of war, machine, but if these entities are as powerful as you claim, what hope do we have, even with humanity's hidden technology?" "Because humanity didn't just preserve their technology," Helios replied. "They improved it. For 3 centuries, they've been working from the shadows, analyzing precursor data, developing new weapons and defenses. The network you see awakening isn't just what humanity had when they disappeared, it's what they've become." The holographic display exploded with new information, showing technological concepts that made even the most advanced Concordat scientists gasp in amazement. Quantum manipulation on a scale that rewrote the laws of physics, weapons that could target specific frequencies of space-time, shields that didn't just block attacks but redirected them into alternate dimensions. We offer this knowledge freely now. Helios continued, because the time for secrets is over. The enemy approaches, and we must stand together or fall separately. The question is, High Council, are you ready to accept the truth about humanity's legacy? Are you ready to join us in the fight for survival? The preparation. 2 months of feverish preparation transformed the galaxy. What had once been considered human ruins revealed themselves as advanced military installations, their dormant systems awakening to full power. Concordat ships underwent radical retrofitting, incorporating technology that their engineers could barely comprehend. Nova stood on the bridge of the transformed stellar horizon, now equipped with quantum-enhanced sensors and temporal weapons. The ship had become something entirely new, a hybrid of Concordat and human engineering that represented hope for survival. "Status report," she commanded, watching the tactical display where thousands of ships gathered for the coming battle. "Fleet assembly is at 90%, Officer Fandor reported. The last of the civilian evacuations from the Outer Rim are complete." Science Officer Rylan worked at her station, her tentacles dancing across holographic interfaces. "The quantum shield network is operational. We're receiving telemetry from all activated human installations." The combined fleet represented the largest military force ever assembled. Concordat warships enhanced with human technology, newly awakened human vessels that had posed as asteroids for centuries, and ships from a dozen other species who had heeded the warning. "Helios," Nova called out. "What's the status of the entity?" The AI's voice emerged from the ship's systems. "The Harbinger has accelerated. At current velocity, it will reach the Outer Rim in 48 hours. It knows we're preparing." Nova's scales rippled with tension. "Show me." The tactical display shifted, revealing the approaching horror. It moved through space like a wound in reality, its geometric form defying natural laws. Sensor readings showed it was larger than any artificial structure ever recorded. "All ships report ready," Fandor announced. "Quantum shields at full power, temporal weapons primed." Nova nodded, studying the fleet formations. The past months had been challenging. Teaching crews to use technology they barely understood, overcoming centuries of prejudice against artificial intelligence, learning to trust in humanity's long game. "The entity has entered the Carson sector," Helios reported. "I'm detecting unusual quantum fluctuations. It appears to be probing our defenses." "This is what humanity prepared for," Nova reminded her crew. "Everything they built, everything they hid. It was all for this moment." The confrontation. The entity emerged from hyperspace like a tear in the fabric of reality. Its surface seemed to absorb light, creating a void that hurt the mind to look upon. It was vast beyond comprehension, its geometric patterns shifting in ways that defied physics. "All ships, battle formations," Nova commanded. "Remember your training. Trust in your systems." The combined fleet moved as one, their quantum shields linking together in patterns designed by humanity centuries ago. The entity paused, as if surprised by their coordinated response. Energy spike detected. Rylan called out. "The entity is." A beam of pure darkness lanced out from the Harbinger, striking the fleet's defensive line. Ships that would have been vaporized by conventional weapons instead held firm, their quantum shields redirecting the attack into pocket dimensions. "Return fire," Nova ordered. "All ships, execute pattern Alpha." Temporal weapons fired in perfect synchronization, their beams striking the entity from multiple angles. Where they hit, space itself seemed to fracture, forcing portions of the Harbinger out of phase with normal spacetime. The entity recoiled, its form rippling with what might have been pain. But it recovered quickly, launching a counterattack that tested the limits of their defenses. "Shield network at 70%, Fandor reported. "The entity is adapting to our weapons." "Helios," Nova called out. "We need options." "Initiating Protocol Omega," the AI responded. Across the battlefield, the hidden human installations began to power up, their true forms finally revealing themselves. What had appeared to be dead stations transformed into massive weapon platforms, their quantum processors executing battle plans centuries in the making. The entity found itself caught in a web of overlapping fields, each installation adding its power to the network. The combined fleet pressed their advantage, their attacks coordinated by Helios with inhuman precision. The entity's structure is destabilizing, Rylan reported, her bioluminescence pulsing with excitement. The quantum fractures are spreading. Nova watched as the Harbinger's form began to break apart, its impossible geometry failing under the sustained assault. But in its death throes, it lashed out with devastating force. Brace for impact. Nova shouted as a wave of dark energy washed over the fleet. Ships flickered in and out of existence as reality itself buckled under the strain. When the chaos cleared, the entity was gone, not destroyed, but banished to another dimension by the combined power of humanity's hidden technology and the united species of the galaxy. Damage report, Nova called out, her scales slowly returning to their normal hue. Casualties at 30%, Fandor reported grimly. But we held. We actually held. Today marks a new era. Helios announced across all channels. Humanity's long vigil is ended. The knowledge and technology we hidden away will now be shared openly. Together, we will build defenses strong enough to ensure no Harbinger ever threatens this galaxy again. Nova looked out at the transformed fleet, at the awakened human installations, at the combined might of a galaxy united by a common threat. And this time, she said softly, we'll do it together. The battle was over, but the real work was just beginning. The galaxy would never be the same, and perhaps that had been humanity's plan all along.